Welcome to video number 50, which is based on ordinal utility and demand theory. And this is the second part of the discussion. Part first was discussed in video number 49, and part 2 of that is now discussed here in this video. Let me start with the consumer preferences. A consumption bundle is denoted by a vector x, which is equal to x1, x2 up to xn, where xi is quantity consumed of ith good, and I varies from 1 to 2 up to n, and this is the amount of the ith good in the bundle. We can call the objects of the consumer choice consumption bundles. It is a complete list of the goods and services that are involved in the choice problem that we are investigating. We suppose that given any two commodity bundles or two consumption bundles, x prime and x double prime, the consumer can rank them in order of preference. And what is that order of preference? The consumer can determine that one of the consumption bundle is strictly preferred or better than the other, or she or he is indifferent between the two bundles. Again, the consumer can determine that one of the consumption bundles is strictly or better than preferred to the other one, or he or she is indifferent between the two bundles. X prime is strictly preferred to x double prime should be interpreted as saying that the consumer strictly prefers x prime to x double prime. Similarly, x prime greater than or equal to x double prime should be interpreted as saying that x prime is preferred to or indifferent to x prime. So it means x prime is weakly preferred to x double prime. Thirdly, x prime greater than or equal to x double prime means that the consumer regards x prime at least as good as x double prime, or that x prime is no worse than x double prime. This symbol is called preference indifference relation. Assumption of the consumer preferences. A. X prime greater than or equal to x double prime and x double prime greater than or equal to x prime implies that the consumer is indifferent between x prime and x double prime bundles. That is, the consumer is indifferent between the two bundles. One bundle is x prime and another bundle is x double prime. B. X prime greater than or equal to x double prime and not x double prime greater than or equal to x prime implies that x prime is strictly preferred to x double prime. So we may explain that the consumer strictly prefers x prime to x double prime. We can now proceed to the assumptions which give the desired properties to the consumer's preferences ordering. Assumption number 1. Completeness. For any pair of bundles, that is x prime and x double prime, either x prime is greater than or equal to x double prime, or x double prime is at least as good as x prime, or both. This implies that there are no holes in the preference ordering. Given some bundle x prime, every other bundle can be put into one of the three sets. Number 1, the set of the bundles preferred to or different to x prime, the better set for x prime. 2, the set of bundles indifferent to x prime, that is the indifferent set of x prime. 3, the set of bundles to which x prime is preferred to are indifferent, that is called the worst set for x prime. Assumption number 2 is that of transitivity. For any three bundles x prime, x double prime and x triple prime, if x prime is at least as good as x double prime and x double prime is at least as good as x triple prime, then x prime is at least as good as x triple prime. This implies that indifferent sets have no intersection. This is a consistency requirement on the consumer. Assumption number 3, reflexivity. X prime is at least as good as itself. So any bundle is preferred to or indifferent to itself. Assumption number 4 is that of non-satiation. A consumption bundle x prime will be preferred to x double prime if x prime contains more of at least one good or no less of any other good. That is, if x prime is as good as, at least as good as x double prime. Assumption number 5 is that of continuity, and it means that the graph of an indifferent set is continuous surface, which implies that the surface or curve in 2 dimensions has no gaps or breaks at any point. Assumption number 6, strict convexity. It means that given any consumption bundle x prime, its beta set is strictly convex. Assumption number 7, and that is assumption of differentiability. And it means that utility functions are differentiable at any required order. They can be differentiable at order 1, order 2, order 3 and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, this small video is about the assumptions of consumer preferences. These are the basic building blocks of consumer demand theory. I hope you might have enjoyed the presentation, and if you have any question, kindly you may write down your comments below this video. You can like it, you can like the video, and you can share it with friends, colleagues and other students so that it can be reached to many students, many audience, for their benefit. With these few words, I thank you very much, and I'll meet you in another video session later on. Thank you very much.